Hello there. So, Robert Jenrick, the Shadow Justice Secretary, was also on manoeuvres on the beaches of France this weekend and getting pelted with bottles while the French police did nothing. Pity he and his mate, the Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp, weren't finding all this stuff out while they were in power, isn't it? They must think the average punter has the 7-second memory of a goldfish. After all, they've been MPs for at least a decade, and none of what they've reported on over the weekend is anything really new, is it? But they're pretending it is. But to what end? Their party is a dead duck still somehow floating on a fetid pond. They'd be much better off jumping from their own sinking rubber dinghy onto the advanced UK lifeboat captained by Ben Habib. Oh, and for clarity, I'm not saying that the chap on the thumbnail attacked Jenrick. Anyway, here's Robert Jenrick on tour in France.
I've just spent 48 hours in northern France. I wanted to see what's going on up close.
I'm Robert. I'm from England. Why do you want to go to England?
English.
We're told these are refugees, fleeing danger. But that's not what I found.
I live in Saudi Arabia. I'm working in the office for the passport.
Well, so you think if you come to England, you won't be sent anywhere. You get to live in London. Yeah. And are you worried about getting a small boat across the channel? No.
It's not long before a man warns me to leave the camp. And moments later, bottles are thrown at me.
Fuck! Hold on. Go now.
As we leave the camp, we spot something.
A group of maybe 60 or 70 migrants on the way to the beaches.
We follow them.
They're holding their life jackets. Well, it's 8:30 at night now. They're now there at the bus stop. No sign of the French police whatsoever.
They get on the bus, no tickets. It looks like an everyday occurrence. We follow the bus.
It's 9:30 and we've followed the migrants all the way into Dunkirk. We've walked behind them. We think they're in a little passageway behind these houses. The beach is just there.
They are hiding just behind these trees here.
We've been in and around this beach now for a couple of hours and we haven't seen any police present. Zero, zilch.
It's just after 4 o'clock in the morning. We know that the migrants are just over there.
At daybreak, we find the migrants have gone. We don't know where. There's still no sign of any police. So I ring them.
I'm in Dunkirk and I saw a large group of 40 or 50 illegal migrants in the cemetery off the main road by the beach.
He doesn't think that they are going to come, but he's going to give the information to the police. Then police will decide.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think the police officer just said that he doesn't think the police will be sent out. We've literally gone to a camp, found a group of migrants holding life jackets, watched them get onto a public bus in plain sight of everyone. Then we watched them walk through Dunkirk, and we've given £800 million to France, and we didn't see a police officer the whole day. And now we just phoned them. It doesn't sound they're even going to bother to come out. So this is where the migrants spent the night. You can see they left behind all sorts of things here. Tons of rubbish as well. They completely trashed the place. Within an hour or so of them leaving, there are people here cleaning it all up. Just another day in northern France.
Now, apart from being very infuriating, it is also annoying that Jenrick is just telling us stuff we knew years ago, and that he should have been a part of dealing with when his party was in government. And apart from the faces, Jenrick's video was eerily similar to that of Chris Philp, which I showed you yesterday, especially where this type of thing is concerned.
They're planning to cross the channel illegally. And I said to him, that's illegal. And he said, I don't care. I mean, he was completely up.
Well, right,
Okay, let's go. We've got to go.
So both Jenrick and Philp came under physical attack, as shown on both videos. Now, it would be easy to dismiss this as two guys poking a hornet's nest and getting stung. But do we really want people coming into the UK, probably for the rest of their lives, some of whom so readily and easily resort to violence? But I do hope the cameramen were also safe. And don't forget Chris Philp and the French buses, which also featured in Jenrick's video. In Jenrick's video, we saw them boarding buses, looking like they weren't paying for it. They just got on and were ferried to the beach. So I'll just remind you with what Chris Philp found over the weekend as well.
What we can see here is a large group of illegal migrants being shepherded onto a public bus. French police, as you can see, are present and they are heading towards embarkation points where illegal crossings of the channel will happen very shortly. These people are going to probably be in a hotel somewhere near you soon. This is a symptom of the complete inactivity by French law enforcement, and it's a symptom of the Labour government's total loss of border control. It's happening right now, right behind me.
So, both those videos show a land-based ferry service queuing them up for the sea ferry service provided by the RNLI and Border Force. And by the look of the response from the French authorities to all this, on both the Jenrick and Philp videos, you would be forgiven for thinking that they've lost total control of their borders to the point they no longer care. And that the UK giving them a few quid and then puncturing the odd boat for show is all there to placate the UK masses. But it's really telling how they had a team of litter pickers there so quickly to clear up the mess left by the illegals, wasn't it? The sum total of official intervention, it seems. Or maybe local volunteers who know the game all too well. But as I said, why are Philp and Jenrick bothering? Unless they see themselves as being part of a Tory political pressure group, once the last vestiges of their party are rejected from the House of Commons at the next general election. And the more they go on these little jaunts to try and convince us they are electable once again, the more people will point to their past collusion in this legal and illegal immigration invasion of the UK we're seeing right now. And now we face an even larger threat from these larger, made-to-order mega rubber dinghies, which can each hold over 100 people. Wonder if that one will be plonked on a lorry and taken back to France for recycling. And we have now just broken the 50,000 barrier of those crossing the channel illegally since Keir Starmer's Labour government came to power. And Keir Starmer's reign is seeing the largest number of arrivals per week than under both Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak. Here's the latest data from the Home Office as reported by The Telegraph and updated today. So total known arrivals under Boris Johnson, 65,811. Average per week, 404. Rishi Sunak, he managed 50,637 at 574 a week. But Keir Starmer has already overtaken Rishi Sunak just with 50,716 at a weekly rate of 879. Now, at that rate, or sooner, given the size of the new dinghies, Keir Starmer will overtake Boris's record in just over 17 weeks' time, with the only thing in the way of that being the weather. So there you have it. Just look at those numbers. It's just ramping up. What do you think it's going to look like in a year's time? at this rate, with no action to actually physically stop the boats. It's just going to get worse, isn't it? There's no way round this. You can't, as horrible thingy says here, we've been well and truly sold out. Yes, we have. And it's absolutely infuriating. Yes. Oh dear. They're letting in future votes. Why would they stop that? It's not in Labour's interest at all. We all need to stop saying when we take our country back, because we're not. We lost without a fight, says 90s Child. Yeah, you can see that sort of attitude coming through from people. We have. We've lost the ruddy plot. And the government doesn't care. In fact, it doesn't care. Of course it cares. It cares. It wants more people in, as you saw from that graph, from those numbers. The numbers are going to keep increasing. There's just no way that it was going to go any other way. And I can't see why people don't see this for the truth that it is. Oh, dear. Yeah. As Last Independent Thinker says, it's like watching the 300 movie in real time. Yes. And Cold Breeze is asking, why are they destroying our country when they are born here? What is wrong with these people? It's this internationalist attitude of everybody on the planet being absolutely equal. We must all be forced together to live as one united world, and we all have the same, and we all act the same, we all think the same. Everybody's got to be the same. And if that happens, we'll all be happy. No more wars, no more famines, because when one country's a bit short, we'll send them all our food and all the rest of it. This sort of thing. Everybody dependent on everybody else. This is the ultimate aim. And it just completely bypasses any thought of human nature, doesn't it? Human nature and the egocentric people that try to, the Napoleons and all the rest of it. They're still out there. They'll still be born. This whole attitude doesn't take that into account. Also, it's quite funny, but if you only had one political system allowed, a global government, how could you ever make it better? Because there'd be nothing to compare it with, would there? It'd be like having only Tesco's as the store for the nation, just the one store. Or worse, can you imagine the government taking over the provision of all food? Water is one thing, but if they said, well, we're going to, if we can run the water supply, we'll run the food supply and you'll all get the same sort of food and no one will go hungry. Yeah, sure. But that's the sort of thinking that goes behind them. Mark JU8DS says Farage has controlled opposition to ensure we don't get a right-wing government. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that, but it's very hard to say at this stage. At the moment, the wind is in his sails, and if he's the only thing out there that we can vote for, then that's what people will vote for. So we'll just have to see about that. And it's not a utopia, but a dystopia. That's where we're going. We are going for a dystopia, not a utopia. Yeah. So you know what has to be done. Your politicians are not going to do it. They're bringing in more daily. Yes, they are. That's their plan. That's what they want to do. They are going to do it all the time, and they will keep doing it because they think that bringing more people in boosts GDP. If GDP goes up, everybody's happy, and it bring more people in, house prices go up, so everybody's happy. The only thing is that food prices are going to go up, electricity prices are going to go up as well, and it's just ridiculous. We're going to end up with food shortages at this rate in this country, the way they're cutting back on on agriculture, more and more people coming. I don't know how they're going to feed them. I really don't. They're going to destroy agriculture and then wonder how they're going to feed the people. Oh, I know, we're going to import it all, aren't we? And who's going to pay for it? Well, the taxpayer will end up paying for it, won't they? Somehow. It's just a ridiculous situation to be in. Yeah. Yes, Leonardus had balls as well as a sword, spear and shield. Our average lefty has none of the above. They don't need them, do they? Because they got the whole of government, the police, the Westminster blob all on their side, haven't they? All agreeing with them. That's the main problem. Oh, dear me. Don't go on down this one. We'll all be eating insect sandwiches, won't we? Yeah, they've been pushing this. I've seen they sort of taken their push for that off the boil a bit, but they did generally go through a big push in this country for insect foods, didn't they, in the recent past? And I remember I did a video on it, went through all the different bugs and how good they were for you. Which, yeah, I won't be eating bug food anytime soon, not knowingly anyway. However, the EU, and I think now we have introduced a few allowed bugs into the food chain, you know, just to start the whole thing off. Then in the end, in a couple of years' time, they'll turn around and say, well, you've all been eating bugs all the time and you didn't know it. So now we're going to introduce more. You have to watch these people. It's a way of getting rid of meat. If they can get rid of meat, they can get rid of agriculture. If they can get rid of milk, which I'll come on to later, they can do the same there. Okay, so that we'll all eat this factory gunk, Frankenstein foods and all the rest of it. Yeah. A point here by Kevin Heath is our Navy couldn't legitimately stop them from getting here. This is the problem. Everybody says bring the Navy in. The Navy has to obey the law of the land just like anyone else. So if Border Force and RNI can't turn them round or do things that might hurt them, the Navy can't do so either. So that's we have to change the whole landscape or seascape about how we deal with this problem. And the first thing is, don't let them set foot in this country. Keep them out. But that's the hard part. How do you do that without killing people, without hurting people? And the sea will hurt people. So if we get it all wrong. So this is a bit of a balancing act. Now, a lot of people I know will be fuming and saying, I don't care. But we are meant to be a civilized country. But that doesn't mean to say we have to let everyone in. There must be a way around this. There really must be. But, yeah. Yes, as Lewis Sharp says, as an American, I assure you we're not all equal. 3% are responsible for 87% of all violent crime. Yes, and those are the people we need to lock up. Oh, no, we mustn't lock them up. Sorry, got it all wrong. All those people using hurty words, all those people on social media talking bad things about immigration, they must be locked up for good, mustn't they? That's where we're going, and that's where the government wants us to go. Yeah. So, sorry, someone saying advance UK. Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's the way to go. They're going to hold Reform's feet to the fire, and if Reform falters, advance UK will just take over. And the Tories are finished. They're not going to be voted back in. So, as I said, I don't know why Robert Jenrick and Chris Philp are doing all these things. Why don't they just say, I've had enough. I'm going to go and join a party that's growing. Go and join Advance UK, guys. Come on, you know you want to. You're going to be out of a job next election. Yeah, and this is another problem. We can't deport them because very few countries will accept them. A very big point, that is. Who is going to accept them? I can't see many people wanting them back. Oh, you've got one of our murderers. Oh, right, okay, we'll keep them. We don't want them. We don't want them back. Because you've punished them in your way, we don't want them back. So, and not only that, these guys and girls who come over, they know what to do. That's why they throw their passports away. So that, and then, if they can, they denounce their own country's, their own citizenship of their own country where they came from. And that leaves them either stateless, or if we've given them some form of citizenship here, that's it. They're British forever. And it's that sort of thing that's being used against us. It's not being used in a humanity, not for humanity. It's not being done for asylum. It's being done to take advantage of this country. That's the real reason why it's being done. So don't let the lefties try and fool you otherwise. Yeah, sorry. Yes, thank you again, Lewis Sharp. But if you want to pee the politicians off, show up on September the 12th or 14th and stay at home on the 13th. I think what you're saying is that they want to have a go at the group on the 13th. I don't think that's going to happen. I want everyone there on the 13th. Get everyone there. Yeah. So it's really very important that people, as many people as possible, get there on the 13th into London to show the establishment, because it is just the establishment. Most of 99.9% of those MPs and lords and civil servants in there have no regard for us, have no regard for you. All they're interested in is their grand plans. And the other thing they're interested in is getting a New Year's honour or something like that. So they're not interested in us. And if the king says, oh, I want more, I want us to welcome more people, they fall over themselves, because the more they bring in, oh, I brought more in than they did, I deserve a knighthood, this sort of thing. It's so sickening, so sickening. Yeah. A lot of people feel like this, Chaggy. I wish I could afford to leave, but I also feel I should stay and fight. Yeah, a lot of people do feel that way, and so it does sort of disappoint me when I see people saying, I'm off because I can't take it anymore. Yeah, but nowadays we're doing exactly the same as those coming here are doing. Going for something better, not making it work here. So yeah, just a bit, yeah. And Roswell, thank you very much. King Big Ears is not going to be eating insects. Somehow I always get the impression that maybe he's got he'll have access to the best of foods and all the rest of it. So yeah. Someone's there, just leave. I'm not just leaving. Oh, here we go. British is not a nationality. Yeah, everybody said, if you're a lefty, anything to do with the UK is not a nationality, or British is not, English isn't, and all the rest of it. But nor then would France or German or USA, whatever. The USA is made up of states, which the states in America have more power than the individual nation states within the European Union. So the governor is more powerful in the United States than a prime minister is in a EU member state. So, everybody could say that. But what I would say is, okay, we're a club. We clubbed together over centuries to make a great country. And now other people want to come and benefit from that club without paying the membership fee. And that's the sort of thing, the way you should look at it. So, yes. And Hasdes DG8806 says, yes, Advance UK is the party. At the moment, technically, it's not a party because they haven't, as far as I know, actually yet applied to the Electoral Commission. In fact, I checked their website this morning just to see whether there was an application in, but I can't see one at the moment. But while all this goes on, the country itself is girding its loins, ready for a Rachel Reeves raid on our wallets this autumn, so that the country can keep on affording the way of life so many newcomers are now used to living. Oh, and the increasing number of homegrown layabouts we now have. We mustn't forget those either. In fact, it does grieve me to think that this nation of what used to be quite hard-working people is now into the most work they want to put in is go and follow an influencer online who can tell them how to get some PIP or whatever it is. We need to stop a lot of that, because it all has to be paid for by a diminishing number of true taxpayers. And in fact, with people leaving and going and taking their millions, billions or whatever with them, it's just going to leave ordinary taxpayers more and more in the lurch. Now, and this is all despite the fast increasing population numbers. I mean, why have we got a problem with a lack of workers and a lack of tax with all these people coming in? Yeah, and both parties of the uniparty tailpipe are guilty of imposing all this disaster on us. Now, We all know that our porous borders have let in hundreds of thousands of people legally and illegally every year, but we still have dairy farmers saying they can't find workers, so putting our food security at risk. So I'll just show you this from The Guardian. Dairy farmers say worker shortage is threatening UK food security. The Arla Cooperative says 5 in 6 farmers receive very few or zero applications for job vacancies. So, we haven't got anyone to work. But it also goes on to say that dairy farmers have warned that a long-running shortage of workers, exacerbated by Brexit and the pandemic, has put the UK's food security under pressure. They just had to leave a Brexit in there, didn't they? But what they fail to point out is that our UK population, as I said, is at the largest it's ever been, and that we've imported record numbers of newcomers over the last few years into this country. But we still have no workers. Go figure. No, the truth is that life at UK taxpayers' expense has got far too easy for far too many people. And that's the real truth. So yeah, we just have to an easy life now. So yeah. Soylent Green and McDonald's is people. I'm not so sure about McDonald's, but there you go. Yeah, this Britain, we British nation. Yeah, and as YouTube Sucks says, the federal government in America only has so much power. The states have jurisdiction over most things. Yeah, all those executive orders that Trump signs, a lot of them get challenged in court far more than governments do in other nations. So yeah, it is actually quite surprising how little power the president does have, far more than our king as the head of head of state, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, as opposed to the head of government, but far more than the king, but not as much as the EU Commission. They have lots of power over everything, don't they? Yes. Yam's Physical Catalogue of Media. Yes, I'm a Christian and I bow down to Jesus Christ. I give my life to Jesus Christ and nothing else. I'll never bend or turn to anything other than Jesus Christ and Christianity. Well said. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be coming to that conclusion in the upcoming years as this all keeps going, as this massive tidal wave keeps coming in, and it is going to get more. They've got plans for 2030 and beyond, and it all depends on us not having much power anymore, really. Yeah. Michael Hallett says, grandparents Welsh, dad born in England. I was born in England. I will never surrender England. There you go. Yeah. And Old Man and Guitar says, I deliver newspapers to 25 shops in 1 hour. My feet are done. Yeah, I mean, that's called work, isn't it, these days? Well, it used to be called work. Now it's called, I don't know, I'm not going to do it, so I'm not going to find out. Yeah. This is a good point from Dave Cape. Billionaires rule the parties, nothing like us, not going to care for us. Yeah, this is part of the problem is the politicians that we elect, the ones that are chummy with rich people, that like going to all these dinner parties and all the rest of it. I mean, Keir Starmer, what happened when he came in? All those suits and sunglasses, you know, the rest of it. Yeah. What's wrong with Primark, whatever it's called? Yeah, this is another one. ADHD is out of control. There are theories about why that is and why so many people are ill and having some of these mental problems. maybe they're true. Maybe that is a big problem. But if that's the case, then yeah, maybe it's going to keep getting worse. Yeah. Anyway, we now have the Daily Mail reporting, and I'll just show you this one, if I can find it. Do you know something? I think I've lost it. What I'll have to do is just find this new thing that I found. Image file. Oh dear, I picked up the wrong one into the system. So bear with me a second while I find the one I'm looking for. I think this one is it. Yes. Illegal migrants hiding in lorries could be behind surge in food poisoning outbreaks that has seen up to 3,000 trucks contaminated, claims report. Right, so yeah, it's a danger to us. And I know it says could be, but if there's even a chance, then more action surely needs to be taken. Now, the report that the Mail refers to is by Oakland International in partnership with Analytica, and in their report it says the following. The use of refrigerated trailers to gain illegal access for stowaways remains a constant threat to food safety and contributes to considerable unnecessary waste and risk within the food supply chain. So it's a bit of a danger then, isn't it? And this just adds more cost to our food chain. I'd rather the government shut the hotels and houses for illegals and use the money to secure our borders properly and defend our food chain. But it seems more intent on bringing people into the country and then thinking that the more windmills and solar farms we have all over the country, the better it will be. And then they're going to put loads of houses on any remaining land. So you do have to wonder at the sense of these people, don't you? Yeah. And as La Tourista Vita says, or La Tourist Viva, sorry, the longer we leave it, the more organised they become. And that is a problem. They are already hyper-organised. We just left it run initially. No action was taken initially to really deal with it, just rescued a few people out of the water, and ping, the light bulb went off above the people smugglers' heads, and it just started and kept coming. And every time we now turn to anything, they're already planning ahead. They see the laws that are going through Parliament in exactly the same way that we do. When we're debating it, when we're debating about how good or bad it's going to be, they are deciding on how they'll get round it. So they are very well organised. Most criminals are. It's only the bad criminals, the ones who are not very good at being criminals, who are inside jail, or the ones that are locked up for political reasons. But the real clever guys, they're not in there. So yeah. Yeah, Labour spends to slave us all, says KRS 306. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? Yeah, and I won't put this one up, but Grenville Kember says, what choice do they have, Jeff? There is no work, only civil service, but most people aren't communist PDFs. So, yeah, I would say there is work out there, as the dairy farms sort of indicate. I think there is work out there, but it depends on whether people want to do it. And judging by the number of people coming in from abroad, not many of them want to do those jobs either. Everybody wants to be a vice president of a big company these days. That's all they want to do. Or sit behind a desk and spout nonsense on YouTube or something like that, which is quite hard actually sometimes, but there you go. Yes. Just trying to find if there's any. Yes. What's this? Both advance and reform have Muslims in high-powered positions. Can we really trust them? Not sure about Advance, what's going on there, but yeah. Yeah, this is the main problem here, main thrust of what I was saying. Jenrick and Philp let 1 million illegal immigrants on small boats into the UK. Silly Conservative Party. Well, it's not 1 million. There hasn't been that many illegal immigrants on boats coming in, as I showed in that graph. So if you look at the graph again, if I can put that one up, if I can get rid of the other one, wherever it's gone to. No, it has gone. There we go. Yes, that's the one I want to get rid of. There you go. So looking at total known arrivals, I mean, that's 165,000 since Boris Johnson came to power. But those are the ones we know about. I would say there's many more we don't, but I'm not sure from the boats alone it's anywhere near 1 million. But if you're talking about the lorries, which is still going on, and the aeroplanes, ferries, all the rest of it still going on, then maybe we have got that sort of level. And estimates are that we've got, was it 1 to 1.5 million illegal immigrants in this country, and we only know about a proportion of them. And then some of these people that come across on the boats, what do they end up doing? Absconding, disappearing. And they've just gone into the underground economy. So what do we do about it? The only time they'll surface is when they get ill. Then they turn up at the NHS. But even then, I'm not sure there's any mechanism for them to be suddenly located and hauled up and ejected from the country. I don't see any mechanism for doing that. In fact, from what I've seen of the NHS, they'll quietly treat them and send them on their way. Because that's how the NHS works. But the same doctors who work in the NHS work privately. And if an asylum seeker turned up and demanded free healthcare from their private practice, I'm not sure they'd get the same outcome. But there you go. Anyway, wait till start of opium fields. Yeah. Is that where we're going? Is that where we're going? Yeah, I always look at the number of people say the Albanians as one group came across to engage in the illicit substance trade, didn't they? Now, the only reason they'd do that is if there was a large illicit substance trade here to engage in. So maybe it's the number of people we have engaged in that practice in this country that is attracting so many people here for the massive profits that it can supply. Yes. Here we go. Yeah, thank you again, Latura Vista Viva. My ancestors' bones lay deep in this land. Yes, a lot of people feel that way. And yes, so it's something when people like that are the ones that are feeling aggrieved now, that they're the ones being left behind. Their roots were here. They were brought up here. They've got memories here. This is all they know. And other people are coming in and saying, no, that's all got to change. What you know means nothing. You haven't got a culture. You haven't got a history. You haven't got a heritage. You must forget all that and integrate into the new country built by me. Not by you, by me. And that's the annoying thing. Brendan Miles says, reform our billionaires, pleasers, advance. Yeah, I get the impression that that Ben Habib won't be taking any truck from rich billionaires. Yes, the new definition of work, universal credit. Yeah, I get that. That's yeah. Yeah, so, and in the future, we'll have no privacy, own nothing, and be happy. Well, that's the plan. If everybody owns nothing and never will own anything, then what's the problem? You haven't got anything to steal. You haven't got, oh dear. What a prospect. What a concept. Being happy. Religion is poison. I would not agree with that one bit. Depends on the religion, and it depends on the people who practice that religion. Makes a big, big difference. Most people do, whether they realize it or not, need some spiritual release, because they always, it's not like there's two things. What's in the mind, the brain, the physical brain, the chemicals, and what's in the physical world. There's more to it than that. The human psyche needs more than that. Yeah. The British people do not deserve such a limp king as the defender of our faith, says Betty Price. Totally and utterly agree. He should be the defender of the faith, the Church of England. Not that I'm a member of the Church of England, because I'm a Orthodox. But but defending Christianity, definitely. There's someone trying to push their other religion in the chat. I can see it, yes. I can't believe that a handful of rich people are doing this to the world. Well, I can, actually, because they think that they are all-powerful, rich. They got massive egos, and they think they own the world, and it is their right to lord it over you and tell you how to live. They don't want you to do your own thing. So they come out with all sorts of excuses about why they should rule the planet. Net zero is a prime example. We must have net zero. I must control where you go. I must control how you travel. I must control. And that's where this all derives from. And we should stop letting them get away with it. It's just criminal behaviour, really. And yeah. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. And when it all goes wrong, they'll go and hide in their little bunkers, eating caviar and drinking fine wine. Now, at the moment, these very rich people have people that work for them. So when they get up in the morning till they go to bed, someone's always doing something for them. When they go into a restaurant, everybody does things for them, don't they? When they go into their bunker with all their stacked up caviar and champagne, they probably won't even know how to open the tin. Or what they will have is they'll bring people in with them and say, I'll save your life, or you can come in to safety with me, but you have to serve me in my bunker. How long do you think that would last before the workers turned around and said, no, we want a slice of this pie too? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't want to be going and hiding in a bunker to try and avoid things. Not a life. There you go. Sorry, I was just... A rumoured protest outside Bethnal Green police station over arresting women who housed the migrant who walked into the Isle of Dogs last night. Is that the story about a guy who just sort of went into someone's house? If that's the case, then who's protesting over whom, about what is... Yeah, if there is I'll have to look this one up later and see if I can find anything on that. Yeah, I think this is all happening to show us the corruption running through our establishment to the core. I don't know. I think the corruption has been running through the core of our establishment for many a year, and it's all now just tumbling out. I think they got so arrogant, especially during the pandemic when they were handing out billions to dodgy businesses and dodgy people. And they just walked off with the money. Nothing's happened. Nothing's been clawed back. Are you telling me that our system is so porous in that way that they can't go and reclaim that money? What a bunch of... Yeah, if they can arrest people for an online tweet, they can certainly go out and find these people and find out where all this money's gone. Yeah, but it is corruption and it's running through. You know, even now we've got a former minister, two former ministers, isn't it, in the Labour Party? One was the Minister for Corruption, or it should be Minister for Anti-Corruption, Minister Against Corruption, Sadiq, Tulip Siddiq, is it? Yeah. And this other one with the housing thing. I mean, you just got to look at it, and it's just foul, isn't it, what these people get up to? They say one thing and do another. Hypocrites, the lot of them. Yeah, another one says, advance UK, folks. Yeah, someone's saying, well, if you get on a bus in Liverpool, you fear for your life. Yeah, people shouldn't need to get on buses and fear for their lives, or get on the tube and fear for their safety. When you look at I think it was the Spectator has got something on this, an article on this, saying that although the London tube system is still relatively good compared to others around the world, it's expensive and it's also on the way down. I mean, I've got experience of it myself. You walk through the tube stations, and you walk through the door, and it says, hide your mobile phone, because we know that that phone snatchers operate in this station. Wait a minute, if you know phone snatchers operate in this station, get the police in there. Get the transport police in there, instead of doing things like, I don't know, arresting Tommy Robinson. Why don't they go and look out for these guys? And twice, I've said it before, twice I've been tailgated by some guy through a one of those turnstile things. You slap your card on the thing, it goes beep, opens, you go through, and you get a push in the back as someone follows you through. You know, and you look around, and they're not even sheepish about it. It's a case of, it's my right to do so. You know, I'm entitled to do this. And the staff there, no one ever does anything. It's all too difficult. And we know that if you challenge them, anything like that, you're the racist, you're the bigot, you're the whatever. And the last thing is, if it gets violent, it's your fault. You know, and this can't continue. This can't continue. Our society is crumbling around us. Anyway, someone says, I'm English, not British. Yeah, this is what a lot of people say. I would say that I'm English and I'm a UK citizen, because I still believe in the United Kingdom. And that actually is part of what the 13th of September is all about, is unite the kingdom while we still can. Because at the moment we have real problems, don't we, where everything is fragmenting. If we don't keep the kingdom together, you can see a large proportion of this country that's got 4 or 5 million in it. What happens if they want their own portion of this country to have as their own? Yep. People don't think far enough ahead. Yeah. Someone says, cheeky Tory who did nothing to stop it, then gives us this. Yeah, absolutely. That was Neil Pike. Yeah, so that's the way I look at it. They had all the chances. They didn't leave the ECHR. They didn't do anything else, did they? They didn't seriously follow anything. And do you know something? Half the problems we have is because the ECHR is written into UK law via the Human Rights Act. So the Human Rights Act means that you shouldn't anymore need to go to the European Convention on Human Rights or European courts to get your ruling, because you can get it all done in-house in the UK. I say get rid of that and make people chase those spurious human rights through to the ECHR. I'm trying to think back. I've never read a case where someone, apart from the cake case, the gay cake case, apart from that one, I'm not sure that any sort of Brit citizen has gone to the ECHR. In fact, they haven't needed to, I don't think. But I'm not sure how relevant the ECHR really is to us these days. But there you go. Sorry, where was I? Thank you very much, Brits in Singapore for your contribution. Thank you very much. And another one. Brits in Singapore. Thank you very much again. Thank you. So yeah, things are looking very interesting out there in Britland, aren't they? As we keep our beaches nice and open for all comers. In fact, they don't even get to the beaches these days, do we? Actually, we have defended the beaches, says the government, by meeting them mid-channel and bringing them into ports. Oh, do we still see these boats landing on beaches? I haven't seen any recent reports of it. Maybe we've got so good at detecting them and bringing them in or guiding them in, we don't need to do it anymore, or they don't need to go to the beaches. Or maybe they're coming in at night and landing on the beaches, but then there'd be loads of rubber dinghies around everywhere, wouldn't there? I don't know. Or maybe they're being taken away by the government to make sure we don't know about it. That would be something. It's one of the things, isn't it? If they don't know about it and they don't find out, then it doesn't matter, even if it ruins the entire country. That seems to be a government view of everything. Yes. Blue Pony says, from now on, I will ignore net zero. Yep, good idea. Ignore nut to zero, except for the fact that it's impacting on all our lives. By the time we get to 2030, you won't be able to, or 2035, you won't be able to buy any brand new fossil fueled powered vehicles. That'll all be gone, electric only. And you'll then find that we'll get to a point where there are enough electric cars on the road that the price of petrol and diesel will go through the roof. And it will get to a stage where petrol and diesel stations start shutting down because of lack of demand. And that's how this is how this will work. The trouble is, there's also the problem that there are no charging points for most people to have access to for their electric cars, which leads me to think that they don't actually want you to have personal transport of your own, other than shoe leather and bicycles. That's what they want you on. And they don't want you owning them. You'll be hiring them because you'll own nothing and be happy. So I just get this feeling, in fact, it's not more than a feeling, you only have to look at the figures to understand how difficult it's going to be to have everyone to have an electric car. If you live in a flat on the 4th floor with no garage, where's your charging point? Probably haven't got one. So no, I just don't believe that they want us to have cars. So we may see a sort of a bit of a boom in local transport, but there's the most democratic thing, the best thing we ever had in this country and the Western world is personal transport, able to go from A to B. If you get up at 3 a.m. and you want to go and buy something and a shop is open, you can do it. But in the future, you won't. After 2040, 2050, life is going to be very, very, very different. People in their little 15-minute areas, and it's not a case of not being allowed out. You just won't be able to get out. You won't be able to get into something to go anywhere because you probably used your road mile allowance up by the end of March. So no, I just, yeah, it's. Someone says here it's insane. It is insane. The whole thing is insane. Yeah. Good observation here. Some people do agree with this. Mags at home. I know people loved Queen Elizabeth, but she died at the right time so that her son would be in place for the end times. Yeah, there's a lot of people saying that. I've seen it quite a lot across the web, the interweb. The UK is a political alignment, not a country, says Stephen Garner. Well, I think if you look at the sort of the definition of a country, we are a country, but it's quite strange that we have a government that actually has the word has power, sovereignty over the entire country, the entire United Kingdom. Northern Ireland, so that's Great Britain and Northern Ireland, has power over all of it. But I don't know any other country that actually has World Cup teams from each of its 4 constituent parts. Is there any other country in the world that does that? Is it just the UK? Quite funny that, isn't it? You know, when we have all these competitions, it's not the UK, is it? The biggest one we got is the British Lions, you know, the rugby club, the rugby setup. But otherwise, we're all competing against each other on the world stage. It is quite funny, actually, isn't it? But yeah, worth thinking about. Revival, Reformation, and Reconstruction. Yeah. I think we've got a lot of work ahead of us to rebuild this country into something that people will respect and that people will love, and people, more importantly, be prepared to fight and die for. We have a growing number of people in this country who will not do that. They are more likely to pick up arms against the country they are in. And that should worry us all. So, yeah. I just, yeah. And also the youngsters don't seem to be much in love with the country either, some of them. Although I think that the younger generation coming through will relearn some of the lessons of the past. And I think we will win through in the end, but it's going to be a struggle. And we've got to relearn some old lessons. Thank you, Mark Arnold. It's WEF using UN 2030, Jeff. Live in cities where accommodation, transport, work and food are all provided, and we're no more than drones. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be a great... Have you seen those plans for these big cities, huge cities that people live in, and they look out over the countryside? They look out at it. But they're in their city. So you're wondering how their food is being put together, don't you? If you want to live in a city and the humans aren't out there in the countryside, you know, rearing cattle and wheat and oats and all the rest of it, and orchards, then where is all our food going to come from? And I keep coming back to this. They'll have insect farms in those big cities and chemical farms, chemical factories making the meat and the milk out of, you know, in a factory, just unnatural Frankenstein stuff. And that's where I think we're heading. Yes. Yes. Anyway, all I'm going to say is I'm getting a little bit peckish now. So all I can say is thank you so much for joining me for Thursday lunchtime for a quick chat. Yes, and as someone says here, Hunger Games Society. Yeah, that's where we're heading, I think, Hunger Games Society. And yeah, I think we need 15-minute politicians instead. Yes. Yeah, although some of them don't seem to be able to last longer than that anyway, in any real sense, before they're overtaken by the blob. Yes. Anyway, so thanks very much for all your contributions and all your kind words. And please like, subscribe and comment below. And please consider becoming joining the channel membership as well. And on that note, I'll say it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.